What's up, YouTube? It's the Vintage Cube Chef back with our third draft for Lorwyn Eclipsed. First two drafts, we haven't really done any of the tribes, trying to draft smartly and find open lanes. So far, that hasn't worked out the best for us, so we're going to try forcing a tribe today. Not sure what tribe it will be until we get into the games, but let's see what happens. Alright, we're committing to a tribe for this one. Harmonized Crescendo is for either the Merfolk or Elemental deck. You choose a creature type and you draw a card for each of those. It's fine. Uh, Not necessarily bad. It's just not too crazy. It's very reliant on you having a board already. All of these are not really tribal cards. The only real tribal card is this elf one. You behold if you have an elf, you basically get to pay it for 2 mana instead of 4, and that taps for double green if there's an elf in your graveyard. It's not even a very like crazy good elf card, honestly. I think I'm just gonna take either I'll take the elf card. It's a 2 mana 2/3. Pretty easy, get it going. Okay, and then Iron Shield Elf is amazing. 2 mana 3/1, discard a card, give it indestructible, and tap it. Comes down turn 2, basically requires not only a removal spell, but a very specific type of removal spell to even be able to kill it. And then it also puts elves in the graveyard potentially so that we can start tapping the Dignitary for double green. The Kithkin is a good Kithkin Matters card for sure, but I think Iron Shield Elf is just about as good, if not better. So we'll take that there, and I think we're just going to slam dunk our way into elves. I'm going to try our best to just fully commit to that. Bristlebane Outrider isn't an elf, it is a Kithkin, but it's kind of nuts. It's kind of just an absolutely nuts card. 4 mana, 3/5, can't be blocked except for power 2 or 3 or greater. And if a creature entered, it's a 5/5. This card just is a house. It doesn't need any Kithkin synergy. It just is great. It doesn't help us with our elves, and there is an embrace here, but I think Outrider is just absurd of a card. So I'm pretty happy taking it. And here we're getting a good elf card anyway on the next pick. 4 mana 4/4, can't be blocked by more than one creature, so pretty hard to efficiently take this off the board. And then you give elves +2/+2 until end of turn, and then it's an elf. Very strong. Very strong. Alright, our mid game's looking great already. We have 2 great early game cards, 2 great mid game cards. I'm pretty happy about all this. We don't have any removal, but the elf deck has a lot of potential removal just throughout its colors, so pretty content there. 4 mana 6/6, and then at the beginning of your first main phase, every turn you either blight 2 or lose 3 life. It is a goblin, which isn't ideal. I think I'm pretty happy just taking a second cavalry. There's another personify. I think we've seen 3 of these already. Pretty crazy. 5th pick, Tweeze, I think, is a signal, and the Gut Splitter Gang is definitely a signal that maybe Goblins is open. But I'm going to take Cavalry and be pretty happy about it. This card's nuts. 4 mana, 4/4, it kind of just does everything. Blocks all the relevant things in the format. Great Forest Druid is not an elf, but it does just ramp us into these 4 drops very nicely. Pilgrim's Eye is kind of a trap. It's like the 5-color matter card. But like worse than the Vivid cards because if you don't have exactly 5 colors, this card kind of doesn't do anything. So Great Forest Druid, really easy pickup. Never good Goblin. Sourbred Auntie is very solid. I think Goblins is probably open, but I think Elves is doing pretty well for us here. These green cards are all solid. Very happy about what we've taken so far. We're obviously playing green, and Elves want to play green-black. All the rares are, roughly speaking, green and black for the Elf deck, or at least one or the other. And some of the best elves are actually black as opposed to green. Plus, black's the strongest color in the format, arguably. Although, if you've seen my more recent update for the Lorwyn guide or my short about it, my color rankings have changed a little bit. I originally said black and then green, and now it's kind of like black and green, I think, are very close together in terms of how good they are. I don't think there's nearly as much of a difference. This is one of Red's best commons, by the way, being able to go get a basic in the early game and then it being just a total winner once you're able to cast it. Problem is it really wants you to be in specifically elementals. That's where it's best. I'll take a Wickermaw here. There are Vivid cards in green that I would like to pick up. Fixes your mana, kind of completes your early game, surveil, fix your draws. Surveiling also could put an elf in the graveyard to make our Dignitary tap. Yeah, no black or green cards on the wheel is disappointing. Try to remember what our rare was that I didn't take. Oh, the Convoke, choose a creature type. Well, I'm going to take Temporal Cleansing over the Colorless Changeling that I'm not super impressed by generally. The reason for it is there is a 3-color Marion that cares about elves and fairies, and it's green, black, blue. And if I got that card, I would play it. So I'll take the blue card because there's a chance I might play it. Unforgiving Aim is a great pickup. Destroy target creature with flying, or make a 2/2 elf, or destroy an artifact. Destroy an enchantment. We're not really in the Tarfire deck. All of these cards are not really relevant for us. I'll take the uncommon to fill our vault faster. Dagger's not ideal. The fact that it just makes a shapeshifter is weird, but it also turns things into all creature types, so you can use it to make, like, for example, this Outrider into an elf, if that's ever relevant. Remove all counters from target creature. Target opponent exiles 2 cards from their hand. I don't like this card, but I'm going to take it because I want to signal that black is not open. Oh my goodness, this card is absurd. Sunderflock is the elemental one-sided board clear, Psychonic Rift. And then there's the Merfolk Matters, Kindred Sorcery 2. But the Moon Vigil Adherence is pretty great. I would love this Extractor to come back, but I really doubt it will, given how closed Elves has seemed. We'll let someone else be that Elemental Dream. This card is just so good with it. It's often like a 4 mana or less, 5/5 flying that bounces all your opponent's creatures. But it can't come down to like turn 6. Moon Vigil Adherence is great though. It's an elf, has trample, gets bigger. Ooh, and now we're getting Bloodline Binding and Gnarlback Elm, or Bloodline Bidding. This is the reanimate all creatures of a chosen type from your graveyard, and it's kind of absurd. Gnarlback Elm is really good, but basically you just play out your elves, you mill, you don't really care, and then in the late game you just get everything back, and they lose. And now we're getting Gloom Ripper. This is the advantage to, we clearly cut off elves from whoever's passing to us down the next couple seats. So none of them went into elves. And now in pack 2, as we come back around, elves are wide open. And also we're going to be signaling to the people that we're passing to that elves maybe is cut off this turn. Nameless Inversion's really good. +3, -3, and loses all creature types, so kill your opponent's small things or buff your big things. But Gloom Ripper's insane. Yeah, so it's a 5 mana 4/4. There's a card like this in Edge of Eternities for artifacts, where basically for however many of a thing you have, in this case it's elves in your hand or graveyard, one creature you control gets that much power, and one creature an opponent controls loses that much toughness. So it's kill a thing, buff a thing. Changeling Wayfinder here. I don't really like the Bloodletter. I think it's kind of weird. Oh, no. It's Informant. I didn't even see this in the pack. 2 mana, 3/1s. Pretty great. We need more 2-drops. Elves just want a ton of 2-drops. Put stuff in the graveyard for us. And now we're getting another one. Or we can take an Embrace. Interesting, interesting, interesting. I kind of want to just take another elf, honestly. And I don't care about this Embrace. Removal in this set's so weird. The tempo of it is difficult to evaluate. If you're the one being assertive on the board, I feel like you can get away with basically not removing almost anything and then just winning the game, which is kind of dumb. But Kindred, Enchantment, Elf, at the beginning of your upkeep, Surveil, sacrifice this, make a bunch of elves equal to the number of elves in your graveyard, only as a sorcery. Or we could take a Eulogist, which is decent. I already have a bunch of 4s. I'll just take another 2-drop here. Sacrificing this in like the mid to late game for like 3 or 4 elves is pretty crazy. Eclipsed Realms is the name a creature type. You tap for all things of that type only. Giftleaf's Embrace is kind of removal and a trick. I don't like this card. I think this land is a little bit of a trap, even when you're almost entirely one creature type. It's just kind of worse than playing basics most of the time, it feels like. Dream Caesar isn't an elf, but it's really strong. And Surly Farrier isn't strong, so I'll take the strong card in my color. Although because it's not an elf, it's likely we won't play it. Changeling Wayfinder, 9th pick, sign me up. That's from our opening pack, so we didn't wheel the elf cards we wanted to. The Kifkin Ranger's fine, Bloodletter's fine. I'm just going to keep cutting my colors to make it very clear that green and black are not happening. Wow, we wheeled the Moonglow Extractor. That's nuts. Uncommon to fill the vault. and a random Kipkin I don't care about. Oh my gosh, we did open Marlene. This is the card I was talking about, why I took the blue card hypothetically. Probably still won't play the removal spell. But she's a 5 mana 4/5 flyer, and then whenever she or an elf enters, uh, your opponent's exile the top 2 cards of their library, and once each turn you can cast a spell less than an equal number of elves or fairies you control without paying its mana cost. So if you have like 2 or 3 elves, you just get to cast 2 or 3 drop off the top of your opponent's library for free every turn, and that's absurd. So we're definitely playing her as a blue splash. We have a Changeling Wayfinder and a Wickermaw already to help with that. I don't know why. Oh, Dream Caesar's a maybe. We're at 20 cards here. What isn't an elf? Oh, we also have a Great Forest Druid, which isn't an elf, but it helps us cast Marlene now into High Perfect Morkant. This card's absurd, commonly referred to in the format as Elf Mommy because of the absurdity of this art. But she basically says when she enters and whenever an elf enters, you force your opponent to blight 1. And you can tap 3 elves as a sorcery to proliferate, which is choose any number of things with counters on them, and you may put an additional counter. I doubt we'll wheel the Loyalist because I would be shocked, but High Perfect Morkant is absurd. So our elf deck. So basically, what happened this draft? We hard committed to elves pack 1, but people passing to us don't know that. But they're just taking cards, passing things. People we're passing to clearly are able to read the signals that elves are just not happening. I'm gonna pause this. Eclipsed Elf is fantastic in our deck. It's colorless, right? Because we have only black and green. So we'll almost always be able to cast this on turn 3, no question. And it just goes and gets an elf or one of our lands. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, Gathering Stone, Informant. I could take a 3rd Informant. I mean, our late game's so good, I feel like Gathering Stone isn't even needed. I'm just going to take another Informant and make sure our early game is impeccable. Okay, continuing the thought. The people passing to us don't know that we're in elves. People we're passing to, assuming they're looking at the cards in play. I'm taking Assert Perfection here as another removal spell. Amazing with the Informant because it deals 4. We're a little removal light, and we're obviously not going to need these guys now. The people we're passing to know the elves are cut off, so they're going to end up somewhere in the middle of Pack 1, realizing elves aren't happening, right? Pack 2, cards coming back the other way, we get rewarded with a ton of elves because the people we were passing to stayed clear of elves because it just wasn't happening. Even if they opened a good rare, we committed so hard to it that there was just no elf cards for them. This is an Elf Matters 3-drop uncommon. I actually like the common 4/2 better than with Flash and Reach, but this one's totally great. I guess we'll finish the draft here. Stompwing is an elf in my colors. Pretty happy to play it. Gives us another color for vivid things. I don't think we have a single vivid card, but nope, no vivid cards. This deck is absurd. Well, that's a vivid card that I don't want though. Scarblade's Malice, maybe? Makes an elf. Trades up. It could be our last card. We need to make one cut around here. We'll figure it out in a moment. So pack 2, we get super rewarded. Not really by having done much other than fully, brain-deadedly committing to elves to the point of which where it guarantees that our opponents are not in elves, right? Our opponents, the people that we're passing to, are not in elves. Pack 2, as we're passing to the people that were passing to us, even if they were maybe kind of in elves, like they were like trying to figure out their colors, it's very likely they got out of the tribe and more so went into the colors. So they didn't get any elf things. So now they're maybe even if they're playing green and black, they're playing just good cards in green and black. And what that means is coming back the other way in pack 3, even though they had an entire first pack where they could have chosen to do whatever they wanted, pack 2 they got cut out of elves so hard that now the elf synergy cards aren't as impactful to them. They're going to still take probably good cards in their colors, but the cards that just say like they care about an elf, a lot easier to pass. And what ends up happening is then pack 3, we still kind of get rewarded. And that's what happened here. So we just hard committed to elves off of not even a rare. We just took the uncommon, the taps for double green. I think this card's super fine. Assuming you have a ton of elves in your deck, it's a 2 mana 2/3, right? That's pretty darn good stats for cost. All right. And now our deck is absurd because we have High Perfect, Bloodline Bidding, Marilyn, Gloom Ripper. Do I have any more rares? feel like I have one more rare, maybe not. Nope. Okay. These 4 rares are absurd. All of them are. All of these are potentially instantly game-winning cards. Morcant is the least instantly game-winning. Like you kind of get like 1 turn to remove it. Like I play this on turn 4, I make you blight 1, which isn't that scary. Maybe I'm able to tap 3 elves and proliferate an extra counter onto that 1 that you put a 1/1 counter on, and then you kill it, and then we kind of are moving forward. Gloom Ripper kills one of your things, and then buffs one of my things absurdly, and then is a 4/4. So you have to deal with this eventually, right? This card just wins the game out on the spot. Marlin, if I have elves in play, immediately, if you don't have instant speed removal, I flip 2 cards. I almost certainly can cast one of the cards I flip, and I get an extra card out of it. And then you have to remove her. If you don't remove her, you lose the game. She has 5 toughness on turn 5. And even if you do all of that, eventually I get to cast Bloodline Bidding and get everything back. Right? Even casting this for 3 elves, right, on turn like 6 by convoking my board of these like little 3/1s, my 2 drops, whatever, this card will just win the game. So this is a pretty absurd deck. Some cuts. I do think it's a 1 island deck with the ability to get blue from Marlin off of Wickermaw. Go get my island off of Changeling Wayfinder. I have a Great Forest Druid. I think that's all the ways I have to go get a land. But we also just draw a bunch of cards. And it's okay if Marlin comes down not on turn 5, because we have so much good everything. And we have so much good, like, what's called, card selection off of Morcant's Eyes and the Informant. What gets cut? What gets cut? What gets cut? What gets cut? Scarblade's Malice and Gilt Leaf's Embrace are both cuttable. One of these 4s could be out cuttable, like maybe one of the safe like right cavalries. We have such good 3s. Yeah, we'll cut 1 cavalry, and then Auntie's Sentence is fine. I almost never want to be casting on turn 2. And as a -2/-2, it seems kind of weak most of the time. Sorcery speed. Like turn 2, I always want to be playing an Informant or a Dignitary or an Iron Shield Elf. And I just want to play any 3-drop, all of these are great, into any of my 4-drops or rares. And then we just kind of win the game. Gathering Stone might go crazy in my deck. Choose a creature type. All creatures of that type cost 1 less. When it enters at the beginning of my upkeep, I look at the top card of my library. If it's the creature type I named, it goes to my hand. And if it's not, I can put it in the graveyard. So this card goes insane when everything in my deck except for exactly Moon Vigil, no, except for exactly Bristlebane Outrider is a elf. This is my only non-elf, and it's kind of a crazy card. And then we also don't have a lot of oh, I'm cutting these 2, I think. We also have not a lot of just cards that aren't elves, even outside of the creatures. So Foraging Wickermaw is not an elf. The Gathering Stone doesn't count itself because it will already be in play. Obviously lands aren't elves, and we can't help that. Even Morcant's Eyes is an elf. Cert Perfection. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in the whole deck that aren't elves. So we'll have 23 lands and elves, and then 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 elves in the deck. Yeah, Gathering Stone is going to very consistently be a draw too. Okay, this is the deck. I'm going to put it back together for us so that you can see the final curve. And of course, as I've been doing, I will keep the rares in their own column on the left here so you can just kind of see. And that's the deck. We're going to curve out like a monster, and hopefully just people don't feel like they had a chance. Because after curving out and forcing out removal early, we're going to play bomb rare after bomb rare after bomb rare, and they're just going to lose the game. So that's the plan. Let's jump right in and see how we do. Game 1, here we go. Elf Ball. Yeah, that's fine. Great Forest Druid into Moonglaive, Extractor into Marlene. We'll only have 2 elves in play when we play Marlin, but I think that's fine. Alright, I like them going second Or they went first, and they played Swamp Swamp, and they've done nothing. So they could be mono black, but more likely they're probably mana screwed. And that's great for me. And we're just going to play an Extractor and be happy about it. They could Blight Rot this, pay 3 and kill it. I'm kind of fine with that if that's what they want to do. Taster of Wares. Alright, you can steal one of my forests. Card's really cool. Ooh, Informant? Nah, I think the Extractor's better. No attacks. It's a 3/2, and equal to the number of goblins, I show them cards from my hand. The more goblins they have, the more cards I have to show them. And, yeah, they get to exile one of them. And if it's an instant or sorcery, as long as they control Taster of Wares, they can cast it. Behold the Goblin. When it dies, destroy target creature and opponent controls power 2 or less. Whatever. I play Marlin. Let's hit a 2-drop off their deck. Because if I hit a 2-drop, I can cast it. Anti-Sentence. Well, I do not want to kill... Hold on. If I kill this, they kill this. But I don't really care if they do that. I could also just Thoughtseize them. Or I could just kill the 3/2. Let's just kill the 3/2 on board. Decrease the overall quality of their current board state. And I could draw a card and lose a life, but then I lose my Great Forest Druid. And next turn I'm going to play Informant and then be able to cast this Blight Rot. Or something better, because we'll have 3 in play. I'm not blocking this. Oh yeah, it's so over. Oh, you can only cast the cards exiled this turn. Alright. I'm gonna start with an Informant. And exile 2 and Surveil. Yeah, it seems like a good thing to put in my graveyard. I don't need the mana. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. Well, let's get more cards from them first. And maybe we see something even better. Heirloom Auntie is pretty good. No, I think I want to just cast this with Blight 1, Blight on my 0/4, and then until next turn I can cast those cards. And I get a card here. I will trade Sneakling for the 2/1 because we have the bidding in hand, so we eventually get to just discard a hand. This is over. This game's over. They missed lands. They're probably over 2 colors. They're red-black, and they haven't found a mountain. And Marlin has just done so much. Okay, on to the next one. Game 2, we're 1-0. Informant, Extractor. Eventually we'll find an island. Seems good to me. Just going to curve out on the play. Play a Swamp first. They don't know if we're holding up the 1 mana instant speed, remove something. That's a good top deck. Alright, show me an island. Just another Informant. Sure, I'll keep that on top. We'll play Extractor next turn. Let's see what they want to do. Yeah, they probably have a flashy something. The thing is, I don't really care. You can flash in and kill this. The 3/1. You know, it's already done its job. The fact that it surveilled and then did 3 damage means that this card was already worth 2 mana. Would you play a 2 mana spell that said, deal 3 damage to your opponent, surveil 1? I would. Changeling Wayfinder. It's a pretty good card. Do I want to trade that for a card? Probably. I get to surveil. Oh my goodness, this is absurd. So I'm going to surveil first. I got Mountain. I don't want that. And then I attack with both. That's not a bad draw. And then I play the Iron Shield Elf. My army of 3/1s persists. If we draw an island, this game just feels over. If we draw any land, because we have no tap lands in the deck, Gloom Ripper comes down and destroys a thing with toughness 5 or less and gives a creature I control +5 attack, which is lethal, unless they play 2 creatures. Aww. Can't attack or block. Fine. Cavalry. That's also pretty good here. Well, I'll get him for 3. And then play the Cavalry. If we ever draw a land, Gloom Ripper just like wins the game on the spot, so that's pretty cool. And we have double Surveil eventually once these things die. The -2/-2 to the board is pretty good here. 2/4 double strike. 3/4 double strike because it gives itself a new color, right? Wait. Oh, white. They have Spiral into Solitude. Noggle the Mind, and now they have blue. Land, I win. So stupid. Plus X plus O, minus X minus O. Swing for 14, 13. Good game, but yeah, we're just elf balling them, right? We're just playing elf, 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 elf. Thing that cares about elves, things that cares about elves, you lose. Right? Like, also, the thing that is absolutely crazy about this deck is none of these elves on their own are bad, right? Even if I wasn't doing elf things, a 2-mana 3/1 that enters and leaves with a Surveil trigger is great. That is a great card. I have, what, 3 of it? 4 of it? I'm like, it requires, it basically always trades up, right? Either through them having to use actual removal on it, or, wow, this hand sucks. I have an island for the Marlin, no 2-drops, and no black source for my best 3-drop in hand. Even with High Perfect and Marlin, I don't think I can do this hand. Let me know in the comments. Is it Marlin, Marlene, Marilyn? How do you say this card? Morcant makes more sense to me, the other one. But this one I'm not quite sure. Alright, we'll mulligan. Wow. With how many 2-drops in our deck, we were just talking about this. This is kind of absurd. I'm actually going to put back Safe Right Cavalry. I want this Gloom Ripper, even though it's double black. It's just so absurd of a card. Alright, deck. I have so many 2-drops. I would love to see any of them. Oh, I lose. Alright. We didn't hit a 2-drop, and they get to play 5 mana worth of stuff right now on the play. Oh, that's actually not that scary. Discard and draw. Not discard and draw. Alright. 4 forest is not ideal, but we can work with it. Yes, please. Unfortunately, we have to get the swamp here. Love to go get an island, but we can't afford it. This is like the worst our deck can do. No blocks, whatever. This will be a 2/2. I don't love that. Honestly, I think I play just the stomping. I don't want to play a 2/2 here. I'm assuming it's getting tweezed. Seems like the play. Oh, that's way worse. They get to exile the top 4, pick a card from it, and then they get to play it next turn. Prodigy, which kills my 1/2. Okay. Well, Swamp for Gloom Ripper is actually pretty great because it kills something. Why did... Oh, they picked the land. Interesting. Yeah. I'll tap the Swamp. I'll play Eclipsed Elf. And then I want a Swamp. Really? Do I have an Elf in my graveyard? I do. Alright. I'll bite. Elf. I'll play the one that I behold. The elf on play. Alright. We're not out of it. We're not in it, though. That's kind of the problem. And they still have Flame Braider, which I'm kind of shocked they have not used at all. Like, they could be playing 6 mana things, and this game would be so over. We also missed on a swamp on Eclipsed Elf, which is really bad. Putting... Oh, goodness. Too many any combination of colors, so they get black off this too. So they bounce a thing and then Thought Seize me. Cool. Yeah, this is over. Well, this is about the worst that our deck can do. The crazy thing is we're not really out of it. It's just pretty bad. Absolutely trading. I want to Surveil. And then I have to get rid of that. We don't have the mana. It's really sad. And then recast our 2/3. Behold. Totally not out of it right now. We can chump block with Changeling Wayfinder, and we have 2 creatures that block up and kill Flame Braider, and this is getting very large. And that is kind of the hope here. 1, 2, 3, all those are creatures. I'm just gonna chump block here. I don't want to put myself in Tweez range. I would love a land here, swamp in particular. Alright, I'll take the not swamp and cast my big boy. And then make it even bigger. And just pass. When it enters, bounce something. Sure. Yep, that's fine. Nice rares, friend. I'd love to have been able to cast mine. Gloom Ripper and Marlene. But if we now draw the Convoke, return everything of a creature type to your to the battlefield, we just like win. So yeah, that's pretty nice. I might be discarding this to give the Iron Shield indestructible. Yeah, sure, I'll Surveil. Perfect. We'll have 6, 7, 8 mana. So I can make them do it twice. Yeah, that's fine. Pass. See how they want to attack. Yeah, I think I still have to block with the elf and then discard the Gift Leaf's Embrace to give it indestructible. And then I need them to not have another relevant thing. That's not relevant. But I could find something relevant. Kept it on top instantly. That's terrifying. Okay. We cast the High Perfect. They must blight 1. We cast the very big boy. And then they'll have to blight 1 again. And then we just pass. I cannot afford to tap 3 elves to make them proliferate. Run away together is not lethal. Because they get to play this and bounce the Iron Shield Elf and then force me to jump block. Actually, they can't force me to jump block. I just don't block. Interesting. Once again, I feel like we're still not out of this. We just take the 5 from the seat, but then now... Oh. Interesting choice. I will just chump block here. And then they're going to hold up flashing in the Disruptor of Current? Oh, that's a terrible draw. Cool. And then they bounce the High Perfect. And then I replay High Perfect. And make them blight 1 again. And now a 10-10 is a 10-10. I'm going to keep the island in hand. It doesn't help me with anything on board, because if I draw Neverland, it doesn't matter. And I'd rather them think. This was the play I was doing no matter what I drew, basically, right? So it can make them think that maybe I have something for next turn. Who knows? Okay. Okay, whatever, man. Yeah, Soul Emulation. Nice deck, dude. Triple rare on us. I mean, our deck's really good too, but that's about as bad as our deck can do, right? Like, we didn't see any early game, even on a mulligan, and then we got color screwed, and then it just was perfect for our opponent. I think that was totally a winnable game if our deck just, kind of functioned as it's averaging expected to do. We're 2-1. Elf ball, be elf ballin'. Hey, look, elf ball. This looks absurd. Interesting question of what we play on turn 2 here. I feel like it's the Dignitary, and then we try to surveil an elf to the graveyard. We also just play Great Forest Druid and slam High Perfect Morcant on turn 3 on the play, or on the draw. Island. I'm sticking with the forest plan. The audio's messed up. Cool. Like a known glitch for Arena right now, that if certain things happen on this new board, it makes the audio all weird. Alright, we're playing against the, I kind of just want to play the Great Forest Druid. It's a lot harder to remove. Dignitary is pretty easy to remove for these red-blue decks. There's a lot of cards that work for it. And the audio being weird is going to annoy me this whole game. It's the worst. Bristle Glutton, that's super whatever. I think I just slam an Outrider, actually. I want to get max value out of Morcant, and I need more elves on board for that. Or the ability to play multiple elves in one turn, even. So we're just going to play a 5/5. And also this, requires removal. And I'd much rather they remove this than they remove Morcant. So play this, starts getting in its damage, and then they have to start figuring out how to deal with it. Decisions, opponent. It can't block this, because this cannot be blocked with power 2 or less. It actually works really well with Morcant, because we just keep their creatures so low power-wise that this just can't be blocked. 4 hits from this and you're dead. Lofty Dreams, +2/+2, and flying. Alright, that's pretty cute. Well, they didn't remove the Outrider, so now I just slam Morcant. Because now they have 2 problems. And next turn, I literally just play 3 elves and make them blight 3 times. And then tap 3 untapped elves. Fun fact, you can tap Morcant's Eyes. It's an elf. It's weird, but you can. So tap 3 untapped elves, proliferate, and just make them lose their board. So whatever they play here, if it's not a removal spell for Morcant, it's a problem. But if it's a removal spell for Morcant, they're taking another 5 from Outrider. And it needs to be unconditional removal, right? 4 mana, deal 5, and exile it. Removes it. Run away together, I guess, kind of removes it. It doesn't really work, right? You don't want to bounce it. That does not matter. Unless I needed another color. They went and got red off of this, so I assume they don't have a 3rd color. Yeah, this game's over. Okay. It was a good try, opponent. I really respect it. But, yeah, it's super over for you here. We'll start with the one I care the least about. I reveal Morcant. I don't care if they spell Snare This or whatever the heck it is. Please blight 1. I would like to surveil. Then I'm going to tap all 3 of the elves I played to proliferate. Make these things all even smaller. That's an elf. I want that. More elf. This is pretty oppressive. I'm going to tap these 3 elves and proliferate. So they can... Oh, they're just sacking the sentinel to draw a card here. Sure. I go next. I attack with the 5/5. Other 5, and then I will now activate Morcant, tapping these 3 things, and putting another -1/-1 counter on the Glutton to eventually make it not really be relevant. Submit 1. Cool. Mm-hmm. 3/3 enters or dies, make a treasure. So they could have chump blocked to get an extra treasure here. They need a board clear. But then Morcant's Eyes makes a million elves. Draw 3 cards. That's irrelevant. Tempo, baby. You cannot be drawing 3 cards when you're this far behind. You're just gonna lose. And we have an elf on top. No point in keeping lands in hand in our deck. We have no way to draw this card. Explosive Prodigy, they have red, green, blue, so deal 3 to something. Surveil. I get to surveil. I keep it on top. And I'm going to surveil again. I'm going to keep it on top. Remember, this makes 2/2 elves as well, so I can just cast this and then make a bunch of elves. Keep it on top again. Or destroy this and make a bunch of elves. Land. I'd be stomping. I'd be stomping. Where do you want to put that? Blight counter. I assume it's on the 1/1. Oh no. I guess that means it can still trade with Morcant, so I can't attack with Morcant. That's fair. I attack with the 5/5 that you can only block with the 3/3. And they go down to 5. Remember how I said that this card just hits people 4 times and then they die? That's what's happening right now. It's happening in real time. And I'm not using it for anything else, so I might as well tap my elves here and put another -1/-1 counter on the Glutton. Why not? Eventually it will die. Submit 1. Eventually it will die. Make them decide that themselves. If they activate it, they can put the counter on itself. We don't know what's on top right now, but we have a Morcant's Eyes to surveil at the beginning of our upkeep, so we will get a shot to manipulate that first draw. There's like a million cards that basically just feel like they win the game. Marlene is one of them. Gathering Stone. It's pretty slow. Yeah, you name Elemental with your weird audio. Boom, 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 boom. Do you see an Elemental on top? If so, you reveal it and draw it. If not, you may put it in the graveyard. Blossom Bind, not really helpful on this board for next turn, because Bristlebane Outrider is just going to kill you. Also, we're getting to a point where we can just attack with everybody, and I don't even care if Morcant dies. I have lethal. This can only be blocked by the 3/3, and it's lethal. They have to deal with it. And then they just have a 0/1 and a 1/1. They can discard and draw, so they could have kept it on top and then discarded and drawed, and then tap down the Outrider. That means tapping and sacrificing the Glutton. Yeah, this just seems so over. No removal, lose. Yeah, they did a lot of stuff that was not very tempo friendly. Gathering Stone's great if you're ahead, not very good if you're behind. Draw 3 is not very good if you're behind on the board that heavily. All right, we're 3-1. Moving up the ranks. Foraging Wickermaw sure will help. And we're on the draw. And then we'll be able to use the Wickermaw to get down Morkon's Eyes and get Surveils. And then, of course, if we just draw a forest, this hand is gas. I keep. We get a Surveil. We get. They have to remove this if they want to disrupt our mana, which they may do when we play a third swamp and then tap this for green to make something, which I'm kind of okay with because I'll get to then get Morkon's Eyes down. Problem is, it's a little bit not very assertive of a board deck, but we have a Morkont to kind of just turn everything around very quickly out of nowhere. All right, we get a free win. A little disappointing. I would have liked to play more games with this deck, but also I'm a free-to-play player, and a win's a win's a win. Alrighty. This is a super keepable hand if I've ever seen one. I have my crazy rare. I have good mana. I have early plays. I have a little bit of removal. What's not to love? I guess being on the draw is really the only thing I'm not super excited about here. I would love a 2-mana 3-1 right now. Hey, a 2-mana 3-1. My life is a wonderful thing. I've already drawn my 2 lands that I need to be able to cast High Perfect. I only have, I think, 2 5-drops in the deck, the rare and the rare, and one of them requires blue anyway. Yeah, I have no reason to keep an elf on the board. If you want to use a trick on this, so be it. Sure, you turn your 2/2 lifelink into a 2/2 not lifelink. That I want to keep on top. And I'll just play a Changeling Wayfinder here as opposed to flashing in a 2/2. Green-black's not going to have a lot of flyers, so Unforgiving Aim is often just going to be that. Now we have our island for eventually. Chomping Changeling, no target. Slamming that out. Kind of wild. I'm going to play my giant must-be-removed creature. And hope for the best. If a creature entered, it becomes a 5/5. Now they have gained 2 life, so not quite as simple as just sure. So they turn their Changeling into a not relevant creature. And now I get to play Marlin, because we top decked her and this game feels over. And I get a free 2-drop. And it's also an elf, because they're an elves as well. So, and a Gloom Ripper on top, of course. Sure, I'm not blocking with this thing. I deal 1 to you, opponent. Do you have a removal spell immediately for Marlin? Second, Bogsliver's Embrace. So be it. Morkont's Eyes with 1 elf in the graveyard. Very scary, very scary. Gloom Ripper's going to be better on later turns. Let's make them sack a creature here. And weird that they sacrificed that one, because now they can't block. I was going to say if they did the other one, I'll just proliferate. Yeah, land to the graveyard. You have another removal spell for High Perfect. Whoa! Champion of the Perfect. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. And when it leaves the battlefield, they get to put this back in their hand. Slight issue for our opponent is going to be that they die. So I'm going to give this minus... Oh, I'm going to give this guy a bunch of power, and this guy no toughness. And then because of Blight, it just dies. And then we get to hit for 13. Nice deck, opponent. Shame, we need to talk about the tempo thing, right? So they had removal for everything I played, but it was sorcery speed and had a downside. So they lost. And that is kind of the best this removal they could have had, right? Because Blightrot wouldn't have killed some of the things they killed, and there isn't a green spell better. So like Marlene, they needed exactly the 3 mana destroy a creature flying that I had. And even then, right? Like I'm still not behind. I don't know. It's just, what were they supposed to do that game? My elf ball deck is just better, so they lose. 2, 3, 4, kick your teeth in. Works for me. Who needs rares? That's the thing is like we're gonna play this curve. This curve must be responded to, right? They can't just do nothing about this. This is just really oppressive. So they have to use removal or tricks or trade with some of their more impactful creatures. And then I play bomb rares. They've already used a lot of the relevant things for it, you know? Like these two creatures need to be dealt with, especially. I'm gonna play this one first because this will just be a 3/3. Unless I put 2 elves in the graveyard off of this, but that's unlikely because if I see an elf, I'm probably keeping it. All right, I keep. We'll play our swamp. All right, well, now looking for fixing is relevant, but lands first. Show me Changeling Wayfinder. I don't want that. I'd rather that be in the graveyard. I have better things to do with my mana. 1/4. Oh, it's really good here. All right, I'll play my brawler then. No attacks, but then when this attacks, this has to be blocked, and this will get +2/+1, making it 2 health. So no good ways to block. Discard and draw, sure. Deal 2. Very relevant if they have that here. Wow. All right, they're curving out really, really well. This is what you need to be able to do against the elf deck to have a real shot, it feels like often. But I'm just going to keep playing elves is kind of the problem. And like my elves are better than their elementals right now. We have an Assert Perfection eventually. I'll also just be able to hold up pumping with Safe Right Cavalry next turn. Although I don't really want to be doing that. It's not very board state effective. So in the graveyard I have 2 elves. So this is a 4 mana 5/5 trample. Another one. Wow, that's pretty good. And then a 1/3. So a 3-drop would be a great draw because then I can Assert Perfection and play a 3-drop. Most 2-drops I'd also play with Assert Perfection. Island's the best draw in my deck because I just slam Marlin and hopefully I hit a spell that costs 3 or less and I get to cast it for free. They must have more than one choice here. Omni Changeling. Making a copy of something? Discarding the elemental? Sure. What do you want a copy of? My 4/4? Another of the 1/4? Alright, that's kind of cute. Sure. And it's a changeling. And then they get... land's a bad draw. I can attack and then spend my whole turn pumping that. I don't think I will. I think I'll just get my 4/4 through and then resolve a big dumb idiot. It's a 5/5 trample, but it's going to get bigger. Land wasn't the worst draw, it's just also not the best. Changeling Wayfinder doesn't matter unless they're getting a color they don't have. Then it matters. Alright, Mountain doesn't matter. It may mean they can play 2 3-drops here, but I couldn't have previously, so that seems to be the case. 1 mana, no real great ways to deal with the Moon Vigil in red-blue. You can deal 4 to it with, the 1 mana, deal 2, or blight 1 to deal 4, but that seems not good enough. I assume if they have the deal 4, a second one of Cinder Strike, that they'll just take the Cavalry. Ooh, Temporal Cleansing, cute. Huh. Yeah, I'll put that second from the top. Sure. No box. That's a good draw. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to Assert Perfection. Do I want to just hit for 8? Or do I want to offer a trade with the Flamekin? I think I just want to hit for 8, so I'm just going to kill this. Rather than do something else. And then I can flash in a 2/2 on my end step here, and then we're top decking the Moon Vigil again. They have a lot of blockers, but this can only be blocked by one thing, and it's basically always going to trade up right now. Let's see if they have removal. We're at 19 as well, so I'm not really too worried about elf totals, but if they attack with just like some dinky things, like the 1/4 or the Wayfinder, I get to flash in the 2/2 here and mess things up. Seems like we're convoking again for something. It's a lot of convoke stuff, so kind of hard to guesstimate what it could be. Rhyme Chill would be particularly bad. That's the tap 2 things and put stun counters on them. Merfolk Sky Swimmer. 2/2 Flying Vigilance. Make a 1/1. Okay. I could Unforgiving Aim that. Just destroy target creature with flying. What is happening right now? Oh, 6 mana off that, so it's white. Alright, so I have to kill this because it means they draw 1 less card. It's not as effective as the 3/3, but oh no, this is white and blue. Oh, so that was the wrong play. Okay, good to know. 4/4, still pretty great here. Do I trade off the Informant to get a Surveil now with their 1/1? Maybe. We'll see what they do. It's the weirdest gosh dang blocks I've ever seen. But sure. Alright, I guess Surveil Island. Yes, please. Alright. Replay my 5/5. The creature I just played, it counts creatures in the graveyard and in the play. So the 3/1 dying doesn't change it being a 5/5, and a 5/5 is pretty darn good here. But we get to play Marlin next turn. And they're just getting beat down, right? They just chump blocked with their 3/3 flyer. That's the state of the board right now. I would love to see them just play like just some stuff. That's stuff. I really don't want them to hold up mana. If they do, I might have to play Marlin post-combat, but I don't love that. Oh, is this run away together? We both bounce a thing. Temporal Cleansing number 2. Okay. I will put it on top again. Card's actually... The reason I'm putting that on top is because it's an elf that will trigger Marlin immediately. Now they have a Feed the Flames to kill. Wow, they have gone through so much of their deck. That... Alright, well, I would really love to hit a 1-drop off the top of their deck. Cinder of their own. Okay, can't cast either of those. But I have a 4/5 flyer. I think I might die, though. Flame Chain Mauler is going to get me. Because they can pump it and give it menace, and I can't block it. I take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, they have lethal on board. Let's see if they see it. They played a great game. Lots of interaction. So much interaction. We kind of fizzled out there, drawing a lot of lands. Did they just miss lethal? I think they just missed lethal. Flame Chain Mauler gives itself menace. They have another removal spell here. They've removed everything I've played. 3rd Temporal Cleansing. Yeah, you got it, friend. Good game. 6, 7, 8. Yeah, if they remove Marlin, then it's lethal either way, I guess. So it doesn't really matter, but they didn't pump it. That's just, they just had it all. Triple Temporal Cleansing, and then Feed the Flames, and the 1 mana, deal 2 at /4. That's what it takes to beat elves, right? It takes that much removal. And they didn't really play any elemental-y stuff, really. They just removed every single permanent I played. Effective. I like it. Let's see if other people can do that. I go first. Deal. I get 2 Surveils, potentially. And then we get to play a Gathering Stone. Name elves and just draw our whole deck. Seems fair. Alright, well, I have all my colors. I would love double black eventually here. I don't want forest. 1/3, you can tap to do things. Yeah, that's whatever. I'll trade. I want to surveil. And then I'm holding up Unforgiving Aim. Blue-white has flyers. Extractor's great. I think I flash in Unforgiving Aim if they do nothing. Okay, never mind. I do not. Doesn't even attack. Pass. My turn. Play Gathering Stone. Name Elf. That's an elf. I will take that. And then now we're going to get to do Morcant and play an elf. So immediately make them give us our value from Morcant. 2/1. When it enters, make a 1/1, 2/2. Yeah, this is going to go downhill so fast. I will draw that elf for free. And then a land. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'll do. Unfortunately, we only have one black source, so I can't do it all. Up the blue source. I want double green up. Play Morcant. You blight 1. You lose your 1/1. Play elf. You just concede? You just conceded? Oh my goodness. It's so over. That's so ridiculous. Morcant, man. Morcant. We're 6-1. We're 6-1. Oh no, we're 6-2. Alright, this is our final game, no matter how it slices. We had 3 games, I think, that were basically free rolls. We got 1 person who disconnected, which is its own thing, and 2 games where we basically curved 2, 3, 4, and they conceded. Or I think it was 2, 3, 4, 5 with my elf person. 2, 3, 4, all elves seems pretty good. We'll eventually get an elf in the graveyard. Now our deck doesn't have any 1-drops, so Goblin's a little scary on turn 1. That's fine. I play a 2/3 elf. I will behold the elf I intend to play next turn. So this is an interesting thing. Beholding an elf is weird. You don't want to let them know about your most powerful elves. And you also want to make the information they received minimally valuable. So I often show them the card I intend to play next. That way, like, the only information they got is that I was going to play this next turn. You know, always. Also, we don't have an elf in the graveyard, so this can't tap for double green. I'm very happy to trade my Stompling here to get an elf in the graveyard and then be able to tap for double green, because double green's pretty crazy right now. I'll be able to play Gathering Stone and name elf and then play a 3-drop potentially. So if we draw a 1 or a 2 or a 3-drop, we can play Gathering Stone. Deal. That only comes back if it had a -1/-1 counter on it, friend. Whoa, that's a big boy. Okay. That's a big boy. I do believe... Oh, how do I want to do this? I kind of want to just play the Gathering Stone. If I'm playing the Gathering Stone, we have to do it like this. And I really hope we hit an elf. Now, land? I'm going to have 6 mana next turn, so land... Yeah, no. Because then I'm also messing myself up because this will happen at the beginning of my upkeep. So I'm also choosing that my next one won't work. Oh, they make it a 4/4 immediately? That's so good for me. I figured they would just take 3 damage. They're hitting me for 6, man. Tempo. Like, you're way ahead on tempo on the board. How many elves do we have in the graveyard? So 1, 2, this will be a 3/3, 4/4? Alright, we need to hit something off Gathering Stone here. Island's a great draw. I would probably keep it. Morcon's like the best thing I can see. Oh, okay. I'll just do that. We are missing lands. Pretty unfortunate. And then the 3/5 is better here, because it blocks the 4/4. Hence why when they put 2 on this, no way you make it a 2/2. You're supposed to blight the Boggart. I played the 2/1 fully expecting it to die, so there's an extra elf in my graveyard. Exile 2 cards from my hand? Ew. I mean, I'll keep all my rares, I guess. And they remake that into a 6/6. I got rid of the Bloodline Binding because all these are getting exiled anyway. And then now they can attack with the 6/6, and I'm just gonna chump block with the Extractor, maybe. We get 2 looks to see either a swamp or an island, either of which I would keep on top. And then if it's an elf, we get to draw it. So the only things we're putting away, very small list of things that we're putting away. Oh, wow. Bogslither's Embrace here is incredible. It's also, well, we're exiling the Kithkin, so that's actually good for me, I guess. Okay, this is super sketchy. Huh. Swamp does not do much for me here. I need to not hit... there was a second swamp underneath. Alright, well, I just have to play this. And give this +4/+4, and this -4/-4. And no attacks. I will trade this, absolutely. I will double block and trade. Yeah, surely you guys start taking 3 damage here. And if they kill one of these, I think I jump block. Well, if they have a removal spell, they have a removal spell. At this point, the only land I'm keeping on top is an island. Yeah, they have a trick. I hope it's like the give a creature Death Touch lifelink. Oh, Tweeze. Damn. Alright. Just buys me a turn. Assuming they don't play another creature here. Give me a card. No, stop it. So many lands. Informant's great, because it means I can try to set up the Surveil for next turn. Another land? What is this? I have 5 in play, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the graveyard. So there's 7 left in my deck. Yeah, start taking the damage. I'm absolutely taking the Surveil. We really need to have an elf on top, so I can go elf, elf. Potentially. That does not do anything. Jeez. And they play a 5/4. That's an elf. Yes. Double elves. It's so good. Elf. Show me a gosh dang island. That doesn't help me. Show me an island. Morcon. Okay. That's money. I think I have to double block and get this off the board. Morcon. It doesn't trade with it, does it? Go to 5. I go to 3. I die to another Tweeze. I die to the +3/+2. And I get 2 more Surveils here, but that's kind of irrelevant. Done. Done. Oh, goodness, that's so many creatures. Do we die now if we don't draw an elf we can play? Or a removal spell? Reveal. Draw for turn. Oh, we're 1 mana off. Because we play this, and if we could have played the other elf, we're able to get there. I can't believe this deck didn't trophy. Ah, they just make it a 3 power creature. What? I mean, it doesn't matter, I guess. There's no way to do this where they don't lose, or where they don't win. And then another removal spell here off the top. Oh, return 2 creatures. Okay, dude. Yeah, people have been saying goblins aren't good. Look at this. This is absurd. Yeah, you win. Well, we flooded to all heck, and that exile 2 cards was particularly brutal. I don't like that card, but when it's really good, it's really good. I mean, the same is true for all versions of Mind Rot. Like, when Mind Rot is good, it's great. All right, well, this is our first truly winning deck. A little disappointed that it didn't go 7 wins, but it was very close, and the games we lost were shenanigans, which I feel like has been all the games that I have played in this format. It feels like a lot of games are very shenanigans, and that's kind of just the nature of it. I'm just making sure I don't have any more rares that I'm just missing. Yeah, we have 4 rares in the deck. They're all absurd. We never even cast Bloodline Bidding. It never was relevant. We won so many games so fast that it was not useful. Gathering Stone was amazing, but that a lot of games we just flooded and we saw so many lands and it helped us get through them, but it was just too many lands too fast and we weren't able to do the thing. But a little disappointed that we hard committed to elves off of a not even very good elf to start. I mean, I would say it's one of the lower quality elves in our deck, honestly. And it did significantly better than every other deck we've built where we were trying to be smart drafters and play smart. And it resulted in a lot of games where it felt like our opponents really didn't have a shot, right? Like we just curved out and our opponents just lost, and it didn't feel like there was a lot they could have done. We had one loss that was really impressive. That elemental player just had it all, right? They had like infinite removal all the way through the game, and it was pretty impressive. And then that game we just played, we flooded to all heck. I don't even remember how we lost our first one. I'm pretty sure it was mana issues as well. Yeah, we mulled to 6, and then we just couldn't find anything to get on the board early, even though we have all of this early game. But overall, really impressive. So I guess that we're going to keep sticking to this mentality of commit really early to a tribe and just force it and refuse to back down. Be the person that, refuses to get out of it even when the signals aren't really in your favor. And you'll get paid off for it in pack 2 and maybe even pack 3. Uh, I would say it's a lower skill mentality for drafting. It actually, I feel like my thought on this set as it's developed is that higher skill drafters that are like trying to read signals and really clearly find their lane are often going to end up in the non-tribal decks as various people at the table hard commit to tribes. And then the non-tribal decks, even when built really strong, feel just a lot worse than the tribal decks. So even when you end up with a good non-tribal deck by correctly reading, like you're right, nobody's playing green red or nobody's playing blue black, but that's because those decks don't result in decks that really feel like they are fighting at the same caliber as some of these decks that we can build when we just hard commit to a tribe. You don't even need much in the way of opening strong rares because you are very likely to get past the rares for your tribe unless someone is directly competing with you. So that's my takeaway. We're going to keep with this strategy, see if it pays off, but nice to get a win under our belt for this format in online. Obviously, in paper, I've been pretty successful overall. I've had 2 undefeated pre-releases and then an undefeated draft and a draft that went terribly. And the draft that went terribly, I didn't do a tribe, and I feel like I really suffered for it overall. So that's the deck, and I hope you had fun. Really would appreciate if you subscribed. Right now, a really large percentage of the people watching these videos aren't subscribed, and as a newer YouTuber, that is the #1 factor for making it so that I can get out there. So if you've been enjoying these, or even if you just your first video and you enjoyed this one, it would mean a lot to me if you did. Other options, you can join our Discord. We have a very active community. We take bets on how many wins a deck will get before the video goes live, and we help each other with decks. And of course, you can find me on like TikTok and stuff like that if you just like the shorts. But more important than any of that, I look forward to seeing you on the next one. See ya.